Hello students, welcome to your channel. Please like, share and subscribe your own channel, School Studies. School Studies is pleased to announce the launch of our educational website, Patel section. After years of hard work and dedication, we are delighted to officially announce the launch. Today we will see a video related to NCERT Solution for Class 10, Economics, Social Science, Chapter 5, Consumer Rights. Let's solve textbook exercise. The first question is, why are rules and regulations required in the marketplace? Illustrate with a few examples. Rules and regulations are required in the marketplace for the protection of the consumer. Individual buyer can be misled by the seller. And in case of any complaint against the shopkeeper, the blame is put on the buyer. The sellers tend to hold no responsibilities for the goods once sold. Hence, to protect consumers from such incidents, rules and regulations are required in the marketplace. For example, if a person buys a product and checks the expiry date after paying for the product, the shopkeeper must restore the expired product. If no rules were maintained, then the shopkeeper might refuse to compensate for the product. What factors gave birth to the consumer movement in India? Trace this evolution. The consumer movement arose out of dissatisfaction of the consumers. The factors that gave birth to the consumer movement in India are as follows. There was no legal system available to consumer to protect them from exploitation in the marketplace. It was started because of the necessity of protecting and promoting the interest of consumers against unethical and unfair trade practices. Rampant food shortages, black marketing, adulterations of food and edible oil. Till mid-1970s, the consumer organizations were busy writing articles and holding exhibitions to across consciousness among the workers. There has been an upsurge in the number of consumer groups since the 1980s. Currently, there are about 700 consumer organizations in India working in the field of consumer protection. Greater awareness among the consumers about their rights also led to the gradual transitions from a predominantly sellers market to the buyers market. These movements have also influenced the government to work for the protection of the consumer, and the Consumer Protection Act has passed in 1986 to safeguard the interests of the consumers. Explain the need for consumer consequences by giving two examples. The consumer must be consequous while buying or trading anything in the market so that they are not been cheated or exploited in the marketplace and charged wrongly for the goods. For example, a person might always check the expiry and manufacturing date of the product before paying for it and must complain about the shopkeepers in the consumer forum if any expired product is found in the shop. Another example that proves that consumer consequences is that the consumer must always ask for the computerized bill for the goods they buy. This is because if a consumer has been provided with a wrong product, the consumer forum demands a bill that acts as a proof that the product given by the shopkeeper is wrong. Next, mention a few factors which cause exploitation of consumer. A few factors that cause the exploitation of consumer are as follow. The most important factor is lack of awareness. People do not ask for proper bill while buying products, which ultimately result in exploitation of the consumer if the product bought is defective. There is no proper monitoring of rules and regulation. Consumer ignores small losses and does not complain about them, which makes the seller more ignorant. Lack of consumer consequences. A consumer must always check the MRP, expiry date and manufacturing date and then buy a product. Next, what is the rationale behind the enactment of the Consumer Protection Act 1986? The rationale behind the enactment of the Consumer Protection Act 1986 was to set up a department solely responsible to handle the complaints raised by the consumer and a separate department for the central and the state governments. The main aim was to address the problems of consumer who reach the consumer courts for exploitation in the marketplace. Describe some of your duties as consumer if you visit a shopping malls in your locality. So these are some of the duties. Always ask for proper bill. Check the MRP and do not pay more than the market price. Check the expiry and manufacture date before buying any goods from the market. If you see any rule or regulation under the marketplace laws being exploited, immediately report the consumer courts. Do not leave a small amount of disparity unattended. This may let the shopkeeper liable to continue the disparity for the other consumers as well. Suppose you buy a bottle of honey and a biscuit packet. Which logo or mark will you have to look for and buy? If you buy a bottle of honey or packet of biscuit, look for the egg mark and the ISI mark before buying it. It is because this symbols specify that the products have been made by government authorized companies. Next, what legal measures were taken by the government to empower the consumers in India? So these are some legal measures. The Consumer Protection Act was passed by the government for the security of consumers and to prevent them from exploitation at the market level. The Right to Information Act was passed in the year 2005 so that the people of the country could be made aware about the functioning of the government. A consumer court was set up for people where cases against any disparity with the consumer were raised. Next, mention some of the rights of consumers and write a few sentences on each. So these are some rights. Right to information. So the RTI Act was passed in 2005 with an aim to make every citizen of the country aware of functioning of the government. Right to choose. Any consumer who receives a service in whatever capacity, regardless of age, gender and nature of service, has the right to choose whether to continue to receive the service. No customer can be denied the right to choose what they want to buy. Right to seek redressal. Consumers have the right to seek redressals against unfair trade, practice and exploitation. If any damage is done to the consumer, she has the right to get compensation depending on degrees of damage. Right to represent. This act gives a right to the consumer to present before the consumer court and present the case of disparity in the form of law. Next, by what means can the consumer express their solidarity? Consumers can express their solidarity by organizing themselves in small groups that can fight against the exploitative trade policies. Such groups get financial aid from the government to fight the case against the shopkeeper. Critically examine the progress of consumer movement in India. The consumer movement in India has progressed rapidly over the past few years. The consumer right that have been passed by the government of country has managed the people to become more aware and fight for the rights in the consumer courts. The Consumer Protection Act passed by the government made it easier for the people to complain against any wrong practice performed by the shopkeeper or seller for the product. The public has become more aware and proper actions are taken against any ill practice in the marketplace. Next, match the following. So this is A column and this is B. Availing details of ingredients of products. So that is right to information. Egg mark, certification of edible or cereals. Accident due to faulty engines in a scooter. Right to safety. District Consumer Court dealing with consumer cases. Consumers international global level institutions of consumer welfare organizations. Bureau of Indian Standards, the agency that develops standards for goods and services. Say true or false. Copra applies only to goods. False. India is one of the many countries in the world which has exclusive courts for consumer redressal. True. When a consumer deals that he has been exploited, he must file a case in the district consumer court. True. It is worthwhile to move to consumer courts only if the damages incurred are high level. True. Hallmark is the satisfaction. Sorry, Hallmark is the certification maintained by the standardization of jewelry. True. A consumer redressal process is very simple and quick. False. A consumer has the right to get compensation depending on degree of damage. True. So this was chapter 5 of NCERT Solution for Class 10th Economics. I hope you like my video. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you. Please leave comment, question or doubts in comment section if you have any, or you can drop a mail to us. You will find my email ID at the end of this video. You can also join us on Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, connect us on LinkedIn or tweet us on Twitter. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you.